कितने मॉक टेस्ट दूं, कब दूं, क्या मैं मॉक टेस्ट लेने के लिए रेडी भी हूं? I'm sure questions like these might be burning in your mind. I'm sure questions like these might be bothering you. So in this video, I'm going to tell you the exact answer to the question, what is the magical number needed to ace CAT? Hi, I'm Apurva, ex-McKinsey, now at Google, but I was exactly in the same shoes as yours. Figuring out the exams, figuring out the strategies, preparing for the worst and aiming for the best. And eventually ending up in an IIM classroom. Let's start and answer the most requested questions. How many mocks to take if you really want to ace CAT? So what is the answer? Is it 15, 20, 30, 45, 50 or 100 mocks? 100 mocks needed for 100 percentile, is it? Well, no. No, my dear CAT aspirants, it is not about the number, and CAT mocks are not about the quantity, it is about the quality. It is not about how much, it is about how well. So, if you are actually looking at this whole process based on the number of mocks that you need to take, you are taking it entirely in a wrong way. Okay, is it clear? What is important is to understand that this entire journey is like a marathon, and taking mock tests are a part of your long run training. So suppose you went for a long run, okay, you are preparing for a marathon and you have to actually prep for that. What would you do? You would actually go for a long running exercise. And once you go for that long running exercise, do you run and come back home? No, you don't do that, right? You're preparing for a marathon at the end of the day. What would you do? You would actually stay back, look at your pace, look at your form, look at the entire things. So your CAT prep is like a marathon and your mock tests are a long training run. So let's understand this entire process and the number of mocks, as you call it, via this very example. So just like a runner, there are 3 phases in an aspirant's journey. Let's start with phase 1, which is warm up. Warm up and base building phase is the phase for essentially beginners or late starters. You will be actually qualified to be in phase 1 if you are somebody who has A, not completed 40 to 50% of your basics, B, if you have literally just now started and you're not even aware of the exams format, C, you are actually giving this exam just for testing waters, and probably you are somebody who's preparing for other exams like a UPSC or a GATE, for example, and this is just one another backup for you. So if you are somebody who is actually into the phase 1 of the CAT prep journey, which are essentially called the beginners or the late starters or the warm up or the base building phase, you are somebody who's still trying to complete their syllabus, you are somebody who has just opened their CAT books essentially, right? So please make sure that you do not think about taking mocks every day, because that is a surefire way to burn yourself out and injure yourself. Okay, so at this time, at this phase, it is important, it is crucial, it is fundamental for you to complete the fundamentals. It is very, very, very important for you to complete the rudimentary basics of quant. It is important for you to complete what does the basics of DILR look like. It is important for you to get a very, very, very general basic understanding or glance of what the entire CAT exam looks like. Needless to say, since you will be in this phase, you will have a lot of ground to cover, but I would still suggest that an ideal number to start off in this phase would be taking a mock every 4 to 5 days. Reason: while you're still covering ground and the basics, it is important for you to still at least take a mock every week, that is one mock per week, because this would be required to uncover your weak areas. It will help you just simply get a hang of time pressure, format, and especially after the mock, when you actually skim through and analyze, you would try to understand, okay, algebra is my weak area. Oh well, arithmetic, profit loss, I am doing quite well even when I haven't practiced it so much. Or maybe, oh, RC passages, I am really doing well in anthropology topics. And more than the strong areas, it is important to uncover and find out the weaker areas so that you can park your energy, park your capacity into that very subjects, that very topics, and actually take your time to practice that, hone your skills so that you are able to complete those questions on time and eventually get them right? Phase 2, high intensity training. This is the phase wherein you have completed most of your syllabus. So now what do? You build endurance and refine your strategy. Herein, in this phase, it is very important that you actually complete 50 to 60% of your syllabus and enter into the phase 2. This is the time, this is the part wherein you actually level up and increase the frequency of your mocks to at least 3 to 4 mocks per week. Reason: it is extremely important for you to now get in the zone of that high intensity training, get in the zone of sitting for the exam and actually applying all the concepts and basics that you have learned over and over again. So 3 to 4 mocks per week, that's the bare minimum. And how do you analyze a mock? You would use a simple analyze framework to analyze the mock. Now, what is the analyze framework? This is my personal framework and I would really urge you to utilize that because I feel that it has worked wonders for multiple CAT aspirants. Let's start. A is for all questions. So it is not about analyzing only the questions that have gone wrong. Okay, you sit and actually look through all the questions, even the ones that you have skipped, even the ones that you have attempted as a right choice. Okay, now number 2, which is N. N is about noticing your patterns. N is about noticing what are the actual inconsistencies that are getting displayed in various mock tests that you have given. Whether there are certain question types that you are always finding it difficult to attempt, or probably what are the different topics that you are always getting wrong. What are the different topics you're always getting right? That is also very important because that will tell you what your strengths are. So essentially noticing and finding and observing those patterns would be your N. Okay. The next step here is another A in the analyze, which stands for absolute gaps. What are absolute gaps? The topics, the question types which you do not know at all, which you did not learn, or which you found too difficult to actually take out the time to learn. Suppose mixtures and allegations is a topic that you couldn't comprehend well while you were trying to work on your foundations, or you maybe skipped that topic because it was boring. But it's a part of arithmetic, and of course the questions will come. Moving on to the alphabet L in analyze and in our framework, which stands for learn new approaches. It is very important that while you analyze, you learn newer ways to solve a problem, whether it is a shortcut or suppose a newer methodology to solve. So anything and everything that enables you to solve that question faster and better is also important to be documented. And it is important that you keep revising these kinds of notes as well that you're putting down, so that next time you see a question and you know, okay, this can be solved using the shortcut that was discussed in mock test number 12, you should be able to apply that. Next up is why, which is the yielding points. It is important to understand in every mock test which questions were the easy ones and which were the traps. It is equally important to identify the traps as well. Finally, the penultimate alphabet, which is S. S stands for, any guesses? Okay, if not, then S, of course, it stands for sectional strategy. Well, the entire exam is about strategy, but sectional strategy is all the more very important, because at the end of the day, this exam is divided into the 3 sections, and you also need to understand and analyze that whether QA is your strong area or VARC is, how much time are you spending, because that will further hone your strategy, because you need to spend more time on your weaker section. It does not apply, and it does not mean that you will completely start neglecting your strong section, but it is important to actually benchmark sections within themselves as well. Last but not the least, the alphabet E. In the analyze framework, E stands for examine your mindset. Were you too stressed while giving the mock, or were you very distracted? Were you calm? A very, very, very understated factor in giving a mock is the mindset, but it's the most crucial part. Because if you attempt any exam with a calm mindset, ultimately and automatically, that stage, that strategy of prioritize like a pro that I talk about, right? That happens in a natural manner. So it is very important that you understand that I applied strategy X and it led me to be very distracted during the exam. I applied strategy Y and it led me to be very calm in the exam. So what was your mindset? That is also very important to take a note of mentally. So my dear CAT aspirants, use the analyze framework to analyze the mocks. And CAT is not just about learning, giving mocks, but as I mentioned, it's a mental game too. So make sure that you are very calm and positive when you attempt these mocks, and make sure you're not disheartened by these particular long training runs.
Because at the end of the day, what are these? These are literally mocks, as we call it, right? This score in a particular mock is not going to determine what your real score would look like. This score is not going to decide which B school you would land into. This score will not decide what your future job would look like. This score will not define who you are as a person. This score will not define your preparation as well.
What it will define is, it will be a mirror into your strength and weakness. It will be a mirror of whether on the D-Day you would appear like a struggler or a warrior. The reason I say that is it's all in the mindset. It is important to take these mocks with a positive attitude, because at the end of the day you are learning, right? Every mock that you are giving, you are learning something or the other. Every mock teaches you, okay, this strategy, it worked or not. Every mock will teach you, okay, there's a different way to solve a problem. Every mock will teach you something or the other, right? So it is important that you analyze a mock and you do not be disheartened with these mock scores. And I can confidently vouch for something, because I have talked to multiple toppers, and having that experience firsthand, I can very, very confidently tell you that even if you score a 60 or a 75 percentile in one of your mocks, you can still get a 99 percentile. I have seen cases wherein people have scored a 40 percentile in mocks and they're still able to score a 96, 97 percentile on the D-Day. So it is all about the learning, it's all about the strategy, it is all about taking that test and analyzing it, as simple as that. Phase 3, the peak. This is the time when the exam is just around the corner. This is the time when all your hard work is going to fructify. This is the time when probably you have completed all the syllabus, you are ready. Or maybe not ready at all. Well, this can also be a phase for repeaters or advanced aspirants who have a great understanding of the exam pattern, have probably scored a great percentile and are looking to crack that IIMA. But let me tell you that herein you need to go all in. If it's possible for you, you should possibly be taking one mock per day followed by the analysis. This is the best strategy in the terms of actually getting into the hang of the paper. So this is the time when you go all in and you are actually giving one mock per day. What does that mean? So on the D-Day, your brain will be trained to behave and perform like it is yet another mock test. So it is important to train your body, train your mind to practice those mock tests in that very slot. Sometimes it is a very natural habit and it differs person to person. That suppose for me, I do not work very well in the afternoons, for example, and I feel drowsy out after lunch. But in case I do have an afternoon slot, then I need to actually train my mind to be at its best in that slots as well, right? So it is important to train your mind, train your body, train your soul into actually performing at its best in that very slot. So take an exam, take a mock test every day before the CAT exam. Now this phase can be different for different people. If you are a late starter and probably this phase would come up say 10 days before the CAT exam. Suppose you had already completed your basics and you were at the stage wherein you were giving those 3-4 mocks per day. This stage would come up say 20 days before the CAT exam. And suppose you are an advanced aspirant, you are a repeater. So probably a month before CAT, that is 30 days before the exam, you have already started taking one mock per day. So my dear CAT aspirants, all the very best. I pray that you make the most of this journey and may God paint the canvas of your life with the most beautiful colors. If you like my content, please hit like. If you wish to stick to this journey, hit subscribe, because once I hit 50 subscribers, the live Q&A option will be enabled by YouTube for me, and this would empower me to answer all your queries live. So hit like, subscribe and share it with your friends who think that maybe the number of mocks is more important than taking and analyzing the mock itself.